Coming up tonight on YCN News, CVS pharmacies are officially tobacco-free. For the second time in a few weeks, another American journalist with ties to New Hampshire is beheaded by ISIS extremists. And a candidate for U.S. Senate, Jim Rubens, picks up the endorsement of a former Republican U.S. Senator from New Hampshire. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. A month earlier than proposed a year ago, CVS pharmacies everywhere are now officially tobacco-free. No longer will the consumer goods and healthcare item retail chain sell tobacco products of any kind. The announcement also comes with a name change. CVS Pharmacy will now be known as CVS Health. Posted on its website is its motto: "Our name has changed, but our purpose remains the same, helping people on their path to better health." When company president and CEO Larry Merlot announced last February of the chain's plan, it acknowledged the millions of dollars in tobacco sales it would lose. Yet helping people become healthier was more important than sales, Merlot said. Health and Human Services Secretary Sylvia Matthews Burwell is congratulating CVS management on meeting its goal 1 month ahead of the October 1st deadline. CVS Health's tobacco-free policy is an unprecedented step in the retail industry, says Burwell. This will have an impact in bringing our country closer to achieving a tobacco-free generation. We hope others will follow CVS Health's lead in this important new step to curtail tobacco use. Nationwide, there are 7,700 CVS stores. That number includes 5 in Vermont and 43 in New Hampshire. Meanwhile, in Vermont, the health of animals at a once popular family theme park is of concern. Authorities removed nearly 20 animals from a Vermont theme park after owners failed to follow court orders, Vermont Public Radio reports. Santa's Land, located in Putney, was found with 18 dead animals on site this past spring. After facing animal cruelty charges in Brattleboro District Court in April, the owners, Lillian Billowitz and Brian Deisler, were left with supervision of the remaining animals and a specific court-ordered plan of care that authorities would monitor. VPR reports that inspectors, such as Corporal Melissa Martin of the Windham County Sheriff's Office, later found the animals were left with unsanitary conditions and insufficient food. Last week, Billowitz and Deisler were charged with violating the conditions ordered by the court, and the Windham County Deputy State's Attorney, Susan Kay, ordered the animals be removed. VPR reports that a variety of animals, including donkeys, ponies, goats, a llama, and an emu, were removed from the park, but 17 fallow deer were left under supervision. Animal rights advocates who had been pleading for the animals to be removed since this spring were relieved to see some action take place. VPR reports that owners Billowitz and Deisler are scheduled to appear for a pre-trial hearing on September 16th. A September 8th probable cause hearing in Claremont District Court is the next stop for a southern Vermont man charged by police with felonious sexual assault. Zachary Jones of Orchard Lane, Springfield, Vermont, was arrested by Claremont police on August 29th. Jones' arrest follows an investigation among 3 police departments: Claremont, New Hampshire, and Windsor and Hartford, both in Vermont. Jones is being held on $25,000 cash bail with conditions following his arraignment in Claremont District Court yesterday. Jones will turn 31 on September 9th. For the second time in recent weeks, another American journalist with ties to New Hampshire has been beheaded by ISIS extremists. 31-year-old Stephen Sotloff, a 2002 graduate of Kimball Union Academy in Meriden, has been identified by federal agents as the victim. As was the case several weeks ago with Rochester, New Hampshire journalist James Foley, the Islamic extremists videotaped Sotloff's execution. New Hampshire Governor Maggie Hassan condemned Sotloff's killers in a statement. Stephen was a courageous journalist whose versatile reporting gave voice to civilians in some of the world's most dangerous areas, Hassan said. Sotloff developed his passion for journalism while a student at KUA. It was a gift he shared with people around the world. My thoughts and prayers are with the Sotloff family and their loved ones, Hassan said. An update on a single-occupant car crash involving the former director of Federal Bureau of Investigation is complete, report Vermont State Police. It is likely that Louis Free fell asleep at the wheel. The August 25th crash in Barnard resulted in Free being taken to Dartmouth-Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon. Free is 64 years old. Per the police report, Free was interviewed and does not remember the circumstances of the crash. Police could not find a mechanical problem with the GMC SUV he drove. Police say a lack of memory is common in crashes of this nature. There will be no charges against Free stemming from this crash. They are two of the youngest candidates seeking elected office in New Hampshire. Today at New England College in Henniker, candidate for Governor Andrew Hemingway and candidate for the U.S. House of Representatives Mary Linda Garcia will speak to college students about life in politics. Hemingway and Garcia, during today's lecture, may encourage students to follow politics and vote in upcoming elections. Hemingway seeks the Republican nomination for governor, hoping to defeat fellow Republican Walter Havenstein in the September 9th primary. The winner of the GOP primary will challenge incumbent Democratic Governor Maggie Hassan in the November 4th general election. Garcia is in a three-way race for the Republican primary, the winner of which will challenge incumbent Democrat Congresswoman Ann McLean Custer. GOP hopefuls running against Garcia are Jim Lawrence and Gary Lambert. A Q&A session will follow today's gathering at NEC. YCN News will bring you updates tomorrow on this forum. In another New Hampshire election, candidate for U.S. Senate Jim Rubens has picked up the endorsement of a former Republican U.S. Senator from New Hampshire. Gordon Humphrey says Rubens is the right person to replace current U.S. Senator and former New Hampshire Governor Jeanne Shaheen. Humphrey says the nation faces multiple challenges as serious as he's seen in his lifetime. The private economy is too weak to supply enough jobs that pay enough to support families. The federal government is drowning in debt and has made spending promises it cannot possibly keep, says Humphrey. For these reasons, Rubens is the person who can bring spending into line with what the government and families can afford. And, says Humphrey in his endorsement, Rubens would follow the rules set by the U.S. Constitution and not abuse his authority. Rubens seeks to defeat former New Hampshire Senator Bob Smith and former Massachusetts Senator Scott Brown in the September 9th GOP primary. The winner of this race will challenge Shaheen on November 4th in the general election. When YCN News returns, we'll learn about a Monday evening fire at the Congregational Church in Dummerston, Vermont, and we'll hear why health insurance for Vermont residents may be on the rise.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. A Monday evening fire at the Congregational Church in Dummerston, Vermont is believed to be a case of arson, state police say. Damage to the two-story church at 1535 Middle Road is about $25,000. There were no injuries, say police. There was no one in the building when local fire departments responded to the 10:41 p.m. fire. Crews from the Dummerston Fire Department responded first. Smoke was seen from the church's second floor. Mutual aid was requested. Fire departments from Putney, Brattleboro, Guilford, and Newbrook, all in Vermont, responded, as did the Chesterfield, New Hampshire Fire Department. A passerby put out most of the fire using a fire extinguisher in the church, police report. Fire crews suppressed the fire completely and assessed damages. Vermont State Police investigators and detectives are leading the case per the request of the Dummerston Fire Department. Investigators have determined that the fire was intentionally set. Anyone with information about the fire is asked to call the arson tip line at 1-800-32-ARSON. There is up to a $5,000 reward for information resulting in an arrest. Or call the Vermont State Police at its Rockingham Barracks at 802-875-2112. Also in Vermont news, the Associated Press reports health insurance for residents may be on the rise. This price increase applies to residents who buy their medical insurance through the state's Health Connect website. Yesterday, the Green Mountain Care Board, which approves how much Vermonters will pay for insurance, approved 2 different price hikes for 2 different insurers. Subscribers to Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Vermont will see an average 7.7% increase in premiums. Members of MVP will see an average 10.9% price increase. Increases in healthcare costs at the federal level and drug costs are reason for the higher rates, AP reports. Even with the sanctioned premium increase, it could have been worse for individual insurance policyholders. That's because Blue Cross requested a 9.8% increase. MVP asked the state board to raise premiums 15.3%. In all, individual rate increases per policyholder will vary. When YCN News returns, we'll join Kearsarge Chronicles' Lynn Solomon, who spoke with Gaeta McChesney and Chris Healy, business ops at New London Hospital.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we have patchy fog after midnight with otherwise clear skies and lows in the 50s. Tomorrow morning will be foggy until 9 a.m. Then skies will be sunny and highs will be in the 80s. Tomorrow night we'll have mostly clear skies with a low of 64 degrees. Friday will be sunny with a high of 86 degrees and winds up to 10 miles per hour. Friday night will be partly cloudy with lows in the 60s. You can see here that we have mostly clear skies around our region. There may be occasional fog that rolls in. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow, the Claremont and Lebanon, New Hampshire farmers markets will begin at 4 p.m. In Walpole, New Hampshire, the select board will meet at 6 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. And now let's take a look at local high school sports. Yesterday there was a high school golf match at the Newport Country Club. The location saw Newport, Sunapee, Woodsville, and Deering compete for the best score. Newport won the match with the best score of 169. Sunapee came in second place with 198. Woodsville ranked third with 231. And Deering came in last place with 258. Kicking off our college sports this year, let's see what New England College is up to. Last evening, the NEC Pilgrims took on Amherst College in men's soccer. Although a close game, NEC fell to their opponent 1-0. With just 3 minutes remaining, Amherst midfielder scored the only goal in the game. So far, the Pilgrims have lost 2 games and have not won a game. NEC will travel to Rivier College on September 6th for their next game.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor.
The YCN News continues in a moment.